Peace, what's good? This is your brother C Knowledge, aka Doodlebug from the world famous Diggable Planets.
Hey yo, this your man CHJ of Duck City. This your man in the cut of Duck City.
Hey yo, this is Ed Dav.
Yo, what up, what up? It's your boy Hells, yeah.
Rockin' Yellow in the building, and we turned up.
Yeah, it's your boy Ness Dallas, and I'm rocking with the Mixtape Show.
To the Mixtape Show.
Mixtape Show. Mixtape Show.
The Mixtape Show.
The Mixtape Show.
My main man, DJ Kawan.
DJ Kawan.
DJ Kawan.
With DJ Kawan, blessing them like the Holy Quran.
Fire Rock Zone, Kawan J.
Let's go!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mixtape Show. It is the Artist of the Week interview, and the Artist of the Week interview is sponsored by Art by Guilty Da Vinci. And on the other line, we got a group that I am quickly becoming a real fan of. Calling from the Pacific Northwest. We got Black Stax in the building. How are you guys doing?
Yeah. Doing all right.
Yeah. Doing well. Thank you for having us on the show.
No problem.
It's a pleasure. And like Felicia said, we're fans of yours as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And let's get into that real quick. For the fans who may not be familiar with the individual names, let's start with ladies first and announce who you guys are.
Well, all right. My name is Felicia Loud, second part of Black Stax.
I go by the name of Jace E. Cage, the MC of the crew, and I'm the other half of the duo.
The dynamic duo themselves. And you guys are
all right.
And you guys are located in the Seattle area, correct?
Correct.
So how is it up there in the Pacific Northwest? We actually got one of my DJs is up in Yakima, and
okay.
So we definitely shout out to Guilty out there. But how is it out there? How's the music scene out there in Seattle right now?
Well, that. Sometimes I wonder how to answer that question because, we're stuck up here in the Northwest. We're hidden by all these evergreen trees, and we call it the Emerald City. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I wonder, is this really the Wizard of Oz? You know what I mean? It's an interesting place. Seattle is, the diversity here is very limited. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the art is very abundant. So it's very artistic up here. The weather is we get all seasons from, winter, spring, fall, summer. We get all of them. So it ain't we get one season for 6 months a year. We get them all for about 3 months. Right now we're getting over winter. We just had a big snowstorm up this way. So now we're raining as usual and then sun every once in a while. But the Northwest is a very interesting place, and I think I'm gonna leave it there unless Felicia Lau wants to add more.
I will say for music, it's an incubator. Mm-hmm. I've heard a few people say that Seattle is a place where an artist can come and really concentrate on their music, because you do have those elements what Jace was talking about. You do have those seasons. You do have water. You're going to run into water. You're going to run into parks. You're going to see greenery. You're going to have, your dispensaries. You're going to have, places where you can sit down and just go into your own space and create. Mm-hmm. So as far as a creative space, if you want to go into your own kind of cocoon or work with other people, it is a place that can happen. Plus, it has also organizations that are willing to look at new art and put it on display and work with the artists in order to say, okay, how do you evolve that piece? So it's a consistent evolutionary space for creativity.
Nice.
And just for note, Seattle was created as an experiment. So that's the mind state we go with, that's here.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the Black Stax experiment. How long have you guys
right.
Like that
segue? My language. Talking my language.
Transition right there, right?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
So how long have you guys been as a unit? How long y'all been rocking together?
Rocking together for 9 years.
Yep.
Yes,
2000. Yep. 2009. This will be our 10th year together.
Woohoo!
But 2009 is when we began. So 2009 is when Black Stax officially came together.
And you guys have a very organic sound, a very soulful, very, I call it my ancestors' music when I hear your music. I can feel like that.
Ooh, I
You
like
guys-
that.
you
Ooh,
guys
I like,
treat-
write that down. Ancestors. That's right. That's right.
That's what I hear. When I hear your music, I feel like you channeling the ancestors in a lot of your music. And it's just beautiful. It's eclectic. It's soulful. When you guys, so if this has been about 10 years, 2009, the scene was probably a little bit different globally
Absolutely.
and wise. How did you guys link up to where you were like, this is how we are going to do it? You know, this is what we're set on.
Well, I think, the first thing was respecting and admiring each other as artists. I came in with a group called Silent Lamb Project. Felicia Loud was on her own, working with a group called Felicia Loud and the Soul, which was her live band. And we used to go to her shows, and we used to see her and be like, man, who is this powerful little sister that voice reminds us of the ancestors, brings in the soul of the ancestors, moves you when you don't even want to be moved. You go in there one way and come out another way. And it's all about touching you, right, and your soul and your spirit. And so we were fans of hers. And, we started to, as we saw hip-hop evolving and we saw music evolving and art evolving, we said, what's the best way to continue this work and still be genuine to who we are and what we represent? So the naturalness of who she was, the power, the strength, the spirituality, the artistry that she brought, Black womanhood that she brought, and motherhood and sisterhood that she brought, we were like, we can only team with one person in the city, and it was Felicia Loud. And so we had a meeting, and Felicia Loud served us some tofu chili, and I don't eat tofu, but I'm going to tell you something, this show was good.
Yeah, that's right.
And we sat down, Silent Lamb Project, which was myself and a guy by the name of Silas Black. We sat down with Felicia, and we was like, look, we need to keep doing what we're doing, but we want to do it and, evolve and elevate. What do you think about us teaming up together and collaborating together and bringing the elements, all forms of Black music, from the hip hop and rap to the soul and the R&B, the jazz, the gospel, the African drum, all of that. And we was like, let's put it together and work together. So that's basically how we started Black Stax.
Okay. And would you say, Ms. Felicia, would you say that with you guys creating that group in that area that you're living in, that it was just like the perfect match? Because that may or may not have worked in Detroit or New York City at the time.
It was a perfect match, but I want to ask you, why wouldn't that have worked in Detroit at the time? Why you say that?
2009. I'm just thinking about what I was listening to at the time, and I've never been really like a mainstream listener.
Okay.
So I'm just thinking of what was going on in the Detroit and in New York and who was kind of popping at the time. I think, and this is my opinion, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'll just think with you guys being in that Seattle area, it was really nothing going. It was kind of like the rock grunge kind of.
You're right.
Now. So it's kind of, I think it would probably be easier for you guys to pop in that area and then branch out, compared to where if you were in a Harlem or Detroit, maybe it's just kind of like, oh, we kind of already have that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? Like,
yeah, I do. And I think that's from the perspective that you're coming from, that's very interesting. I think that, and it's logical in terms of like what was going on here. And you're right. But as Jace was saying, in terms of like hip hop here, there was this, and the thing that made sense, why it made sense in terms of what he was talking about when we're seeing each other on stages. So the same effect was happening for me as a Black vocalist, woman vocalist here, and watching strong Black males. And so for me, as I move around in the city and having my own band, and I had an all Black male band at the beginning, which was a protection. And so when that kind of fizzled out because people had life to live, they had children. This was before we had children. This was before, wives and things were met, but I had an all Black male band. So when that started to dissipate, the protection was never something that I shied away from. I love black men. And so Jace and Black came along with Silent Lamb, and there was a protection. There was this strong entity of underground hip hop, which was truthful, which was in your face, which was honest about the community, which was honest about Black love. So it made sense at the time to connect, and it still does to this day. And like anything else that is honest and organic, it keeps growing. So yeah, it was really, and you know, Jason, there's a lot of things within the community that also that I had watched that Jace had done that just wasn't that branched out from hip hop. You know, hip hop being communal and what community really means in terms of like, how do you work with people? How do you stay in contact with people? How do you stay respectful with people?
Yeah.
So it had a few meanings of honesty that I appreciated.
Definitely. And Jace, why did you guys name the group Black Stax? What was the reason behind that?
Well, you know, we are black. We are black man, black woman, blacker than black. And so we wanted to honor the legacy of our ancestors. We wanted to honor the work that they had done. We wanted to honor the shoulders that we stood on. We wanted to honor our blackness from man to woman to child. And so we had to come with black. Unapologetically, we are black. And then the Stax part came from, like I was saying earlier, about staxing all forms of black music. And we know black music has done it all, from gospel to jazz to African drum to blues to bebop to hip hop. And so we wanted to make sure that we did it in a form of respecting who we are and what we represent, as well as respecting who and what came before us. And so we looked at Stax Records as a model because they were what we like to call ourselves. They were polished dirt. There was a rawness to them. There was an authenticity to them. There was a realness to them. Not saying that it wasn't with Motown, but it wasn't so clean. It was a little dirty. And, you know, coming from hip hop and being used to going against the grain and not trying to become commercial, we came up with a name that was still raw, that was still honest, that was still respectful, and was still progressive in where we are today. So we came up with the name Black Stax.
I love it. I love the name. It just oozes pride. You know what I mean? When I hear that.
Yeah, indeed.
Definitely. So let's talk about this new project you guys just dropped here recently. This and you can help me pronounce it because I'll mess it up. So it's is it Illustrate?
Yes.
All right.
Illustrate.
And it's a live project too, huh? You guys recorded this live when you did this?
Yes. So the Illustrate series is a series. And what we like to do is every time we travel, we like to get recordings. And we believe that it helps the picture come together, to illustrate, to draw, to bring a picture together. And so because we have history and because we're in the present and we're also looking towards the future, we wanted to make sure that it encompassed all of that. So to illustrate, to bring the picture together, to draw it, so that you can understand who we are, and what we represent unapologetically, and what we do on purpose, and what is our focus of how we want to use this power and this platform of music as art. And so the Illustrate is basically all that. It's a series. We record it live. We go to different cities. We choose songs that we feel are the best of those that we recorded, and then we just put it together and put it out for the people.
And also the other part about it, you know, is like how it's spelled with the ILL in terms of like hip hop. You know, the language of hip hop is its own, right? It's ill. It's hot. You know, that's the dope. You know, all of that. So ill, we had to put it in there, just like, okay, you know, it complements exactly what it is that we do and what it is that we respect.
Definitely.
It's ill.
And Miss Felicia, how did you feel when you were on stage singing these songs? Because your vocals are amazing when I hear this project, and I feel like I'm there. Just listen to you singing these songs and singing the choruses and just kind of, you know, leading us throughout the journey of this project. How do you enjoy being on stage better than being in the studio creating the music?
Oh, good question. I both aspects are very interesting. Live has always been what I enjoy most because it is, the imperfection of what will come out of my mouth. And so, and that's fine because it is what it is, because it's about the experience of what someone is hearing and about the experience of what it is that is going, what the exchange is between the artist and the audience. So I really enjoy the live aspect because you can, audiences are funny. They will give you no respect and you have to earn it, or they will give you all the respect and you have to keep it.
Yeah.
So in the studio, you just have the confines of, of saying and going back and listening and going corrections and things like that. I love both the work, but live is what I really enjoy. And when we first started, we wanted to make sure that I was not a hook, right? What the hook gonna be? And you turn to the chick and be like, yeah, she gonna sing that. So we wanted to make sure that also that was incorporated was intertwining of these voices.
Yeah.
Hip hop mixed with all genres.
Yeah.
And how.
No, go ahead, sir. Sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm done.
No. I was gonna say I don't recall of this kind of dynamic in recent memory of this type of artistry where you have the MC and you have the songstress, but it's like you said, it's not you're just not singing the hook. You're actually part of the song, And I think that's what stood with me is kind of like I can't. And I tried. I was going back and thinking. I was like, I really can't think of this type of setup as far as a group where you have the singer and the artist and the MC together, and it works because I can't think of any. Honestly, I can't think of it. Like we had the Fugees with Lauryn Hill, but that's a little bit different. That's a trio, but you guys equally on the track hold the track together, and this is beautiful. It's I'm a fan. I'm always a fan of the music first, even with this show. Everybody I play, I'm a fan of their music, and I study the music. So, like I said, literally, I was doing research. I was like, I don't recall this type of situation, and it's dope.
Well, that's dope. That's dope to hear because Felicia likes to say a lot. We don't mind the comparisons. We honor that. We feel a compliment from that. But we want to be known as the first Black Stax.
Yeah.
We want to be known as a group that has its own signature and not in a way where we're like, oh, don't compare us. But we're like, you can compare us because we honor that. Yeah. But at the same time, when you look down at the paper and you look at that signature, it says Black Stax. Yeah.
I don't know of any, and I'll keep researching, but I went back a few years just to think of some people, and I was like, I don't remember this happening. So you guys on something. So has the journey been everything that you guys wanted to be to this point? Could you imagine, for all the work that you've been putting in so far?
The journey, it has been unexpected, like with every journey that anybody or any group, and I'll keep it at that any group goes through, because you never know sometimes how you're going to end up. You have a vision of where you want to end up, but whether or not people are going to take the journey with you is another story. So for us to continue on to make sure that that our two voices are intertwined and make sure that our messages are heard, and how we keep creating, because we're constantly creating how we can even be better each time, and how to get stronger, and how does the message get more and more honest, and what are the phrasing and the words that we can use to just be clear but tight at the same time, and wanting people to dance. All of those elements that are involved.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I don't know if you were waiting for me to add to that, but I think a lot of it too is we've had our challenges for sure. like I said, when we first came in, it was Silent Land Project. It was me and a brother by the name of Silas Black. He's no longer with the group. We also had an instrumentalist, a horn player by the name of Owarunga. He's no longer in the group. And it's not to say that, there's any ill will or animosity. I think people grow as they grow. But one of the things that is very important on this journey is that, like Felicia said, the unexpected, being ready for those unexpected shots, being ready for those unexpected times, and not making it where it's a do or die, but it's more, okay, what did we learn from it? How do we grow from it? What did we build from it? And how do we continue from it? Like, there's no stopping this. It's a continuous staxing effort.
Definitely. Did you guys have a track named Unexpected Shots too?
Did we what?
Did you guys have a song named Unexpected Shots? Am I confusing y'all with somebody else?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's us.
Absolutely.
Okay. See,
that's why we trying to throw some lyrics in here. Style is vintage in a minute. We're going to be talking about how vintage it is in a minute.
I told you I studied the music. I know. I was like, I see what he's trying to do there.
Yeah, you on it. You on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely on top. Yeah.
So let's talk about this new single that you guys are promoting, this Vintage. Beautiful song, dope.
Yeah.
The production on it is dope. What was the thinking behind that when you guys put that together?
Well, when we put it together, we were thinking about, vintage hip hop, what that sounded like, what's the messaging in it. Because I like to tell people all the time, hip hop was talking about social justice before they named it social justice. Hip hop was also about equality, equity before we start talking about that. And in a way where everybody can now join the conversation, hip hop was going against the grain when it was unpopular to do so. So when we put the song together, we wanted to keep it in the essence of hip hop. It's like a reworked cut that I've done before, but now with the added element of Felicia Loud. I got a chance to work with a young producer on this track, a young videographer on this track. And these are young people that I've taught, that I've mentored. And so it was very important that we kept it very simple, but at the same time, very dope. The messaging in it, we wanted it to be clear, as Felicia says. And we just wanted to create something that people could, I like to say walk and chew gum or dance and listen at the same time. Like you can move your head and listen at the same time type music. So we just wanted to get back to the essence of creating something dope, but at the same time, sharing the experiences and the messaging around what that looked like to create the style of it.
Definitely. And then both you can answer this next question. We'll start with ladies first, as always. Ms. Felicia, how important is it for you to bridge the gap right now between the past generation and the upcoming generation through the music?
Because it is what I do, it's important, right? And because there's so many things that I'm paying more attention to as I grow older. And I think the gap has never been broken. It's just that we have to pay attention to what is been said and just keep with that. There's been a lot of interruptions within the gap, but never the gap being broken. And sometimes when we lead ourselves into language, right, it kind of people will follow that. And what I mean by that is that, when a gap is interrupted, it doesn't mean that it's dislodged. It just means that you have to find your way around it. It's like a river that runs. When a rock is thrown into it, it just goes around the rock. We just have to keep finding our way. And the fact that, it's important because I'm noticing now what it is that my mother would say to me. In terms of what's important, in terms of morality, in terms of truth, in terms of kindness. And we all have that. Each and every one of us have that. And when people get dislodged from that, they just need to remember, and we need to be a focus and a focal point for that. And I say that for Black Stax, because I can't speak for everybody, but I can say that we need to be a focal point for that. So it's very important that in reminding people, because I have no more power than anyone else's, family.
Mhm.
I just have a voice that can reiterate maybe what it is that they've heard or haven't.
Definitely.
So making sure that I stay consistent with being a good person in all walks of what I'm doing is the continuum of how you step one step at a time.
Definitely.
And even with those mistakes, and even with those wrongdoings, and even with those, maybe some curse words here and there, I still try to make sure. And and I'm joking, but even with that, it's like you children will listen, they'll hear a curse word here and there, and be like, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe it." I'm like, yeah, because I'm grown, and letting that be known too, and not being afraid to tell children I'm grown. That's why I can do what I do.
Exactly.
Can't be scared about children.
And I think the connection is very important. I think connectivity is very important. That's why we utilize the live instrumentation, the drums and the shakare and the djembe and the African, instrumentalists that we have and the DJ, because I think you have to meet people where they are. And a lot of times all people want is good stuff. They just want good music. They just want something they can vibe to. They want something they can listen to, and whether it's at night when they're going to bed or it's in the middle of the day when they need to get hyped for going in to do some other kind of work. I think it's just finding that balance. And then once you find that balance, making sure that you acknowledge the good and the bad, and not just get caught up into this thing where it's like, oh, everything's got to be, kumbaya. Everything nowadays has its place. And I think, like Felicia said, whether it's the language or whether it's the mentality or whether it's an attitude, it's about going in there and connecting with young folks and saying, look at me, not in a way of look at me so you can be me, but look at me so you can see where you can go. And I think that's so important when you talk to young people, because a lot of times we do a lot of talking, but we sure don't do enough walking. Exactly. And they're watching that. And so we're trying to be good examples for our children, for our families, for our ancestors to look down on, but at the same time for the young people to look at and say, you know what? They was pretty fresh. They was pretty dope. I like that.
It was pretty ill.
It was pretty ill with it. So it's like finding all these ways to stay engaged, I think, and understanding that young people give an energy that is unexplainable. When you tie in with young people, you just get a natural energy. So, I think it's very important.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have an 18-year-old, and he taught me. He's been teaching me that they pay attention more than you think they do.
Yeah.
He really taught me a lesson when the last elections went around, and we just kind of got into the politics, and he was breaking things down, and I was like, well, I didn't know you paid attention to all that. And he was like, yeah, I do. I just don't talk about it, but I do. So I learned a lot from him, and they pick up on a lot more things quicker than they think they do.
Isn't it amazing when they talk to you?
Yes.
And you be like, yes, that's my baby.
That's right.
I brought a good one in.
Exactly. Because I have an 18-year-old and a 4-year-old, and even the 4-year-old teaches me what's going on.
That's right. That's right. Every day you learn something, and when you stop learning, I tell people just close your eyes and lay it down.
Lay it down.
Lay it down.
So you guys plan on doing any shows? Well, I know you're doing shows, but are you planning on like touring the album or touring the project that you got out right now?
Absolutely. We're actually getting out in April. We'll be in LA April 14th.
Okay.
We'll fly to DC April 15th. Then we're in New Jersey the 16th and 17th. And then we're in New York the 18th through the 20th.
Nice.
And we leave and head back home on the 21st. So we're definitely trying to get the word out about the work. We're definitely trying to get in as many ears as we possibly can and have as many conversations like these as we possibly can, and continue to build and connect with folks. Okay. And let them hear us and see where our mind state is, and know that, we're very authentic to the things we talk about. This ain't just so we can be impressive when we get there and we're totally different. Mm-hmm. We want to be able to, like Felicia said, to close your eyes and you can imagine what Black Stax is all about.
Definitely. I definitely get that vibe and listen to your music. So I am a fan, definitely a fan. And like I said, I go back and I studied and happy to say that you guys are a part of the crew, part of the family here. So anything you guys need, just let us know. We'll take care of you.
Well, thank you very, and we're gonna hold you to that.
That's okay.
Because I got people in Dallas.
That's
They
okay.
told you. I got people in Dallas.
I'm an email away. That's all.
All right.
So how can we get a hold of you?
Yeah.
If you got any, maybe we got some artists out there listening to you guys and maybe want to do a little collaboration or something. What's the best way we get a hold of you?
Wow.
Okay, most definitely. For all artists that are serious, dope, authentic, and real to who they are and what they stand for and are true to the music, you can reach us at Black Stax, BLACKSTAX @gmail.com. You can also, follow us on all those social media platforms. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram at Black_Stax, BLACK_STAX. You can reach us on Facebook, Black.Stax on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on all the social platforms. So however the best way for you to contact us, whether it's DM, whether it's email, or whether it's just reaching out in the atmosphere, our website is blackstaxmusic.com. That's another good way. So whoever's serious about it, whoever's doing what they're doing in a way that is genuine to the craft, we're definitely open to collaborations.
Definitely. And ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Black Stax for joining us. Glad you guys got to stay up a little late with us. Well, no, you guys are early to me. Sorry, we 2 hours.
That's what I'm saying. You staying up late. We good.
It's spring break.
We're good.
It's spring break week, so we good in this side of town.
Oh, okay. Well, say that then. Say that.
Well, thank you. We definitely thank you guys for joining us. And like I said, man, we're gonna promote your music as best as we can. I got the videos now, so we can definitely throw that in the mix. And your family, man, we're gonna take care of you guys as best as we can. So thank you guys for spending time with us this week on the Mixtape Show.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you, family. Thank you, family.
And how about we get into that?
Have a good night.
Yeah, too. How about we get into that vintage record before we get up out of here?
Surely goodness.
Do it. The lead single off the Black Stax, Illustrate, Stax and Continues, live renditions,
Definitely.
vintage,
And is
hard hitting.
that album is available on all digital platforms?
Album available on all digital platforms.
All right, let's go out there and get that, support that, pay for it, so you can have your own copy. You don't have to just stream
That's
it.
right.
Let's go pay
That's
for
right.
it.
That's right.
We know it's cool over here. Well, thank you guys for joining us, and like I said, we got you in any way we can. We're gonna take care of you.
Thank you for having us, and one love, much love, and continue to keep raising those beautiful children so they grow up strong and powerful and share those words. So thank you very much.
House full of testosterone. You know how that goes.
I don't know nothing about
it. Too many boys in this house right now.
Hey, keep taking care of them young princes so they become kings.
Definitely. Thank you for your time, guys. We definitely appreciate you.
All right, one love.
All right.
Try. Keep pushing this culture, this music, this style. The essence of what it is, whether 20 years ago or tomorrow, the style is vintage. Sitting and watching television, up for a vision, listening to a report. It's line, make the puzzle pieces fit in all sorts. Screams of baby's dreams, and you're an essence of a doctrine. What a life. My wife sees me once a week. I'm usually somewhere hidden for keeps. Hearing beat tapes and having great debates. Planning on making great escapes to anywhere. Serene just to leave the scene. No pages, so the only page scripted is when I'm lifted. I praise high. Days are high. I see further than inertia. Inspired. Ish talker. South End lineage. Send it like herbal vintage. Style is vintage. Crack reflections, can't spend no time digressing. No pardon me, so excuse me, move fluently through any city, but stay clogged up, spots stays fogged up. I see it like satellites on stage under spotlights. Nothing extraterrestrial, something exceptional. Quiet at times, like SEA Times. Read the headlines, disappearance without a trace. Name spelled backwards, smoking Blackwoods. Ish talker, South End lineage. Send it like herbal vintage, style is vintage. Look out the curtain, not for certain of linkage with inkage and scribe. I wonder what tribe loves to keep it live and profess after a Marley or Bless. The style is vintage. 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 On a journey, back needs to be on a gurney. Up with the pain and the hurt. Go to finish what we start with the street church. The work is done through the foliage and the mileage. Contemplate each date, what will be on the plate of the newborn. Some days feel like they've been reworn. Hearing issue like it was true from a pulpit. Reserved like a reverend with no sermon. Learning life like a cross burning. Nerves on end, I'm in it to the end. Wearing the same ish, caring about the same ish. Leaving messages for the ages, 2,000 reasons. Got my mind and soul hemorrhaging. Been forsaken by some of my kin. But communion, communities, employing unities, starting new cities with schools for the young. Ish talker, South End lineage, send it like herbal vintage. Style is vintage.